All right. Welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Sounds exciting.
It is this one is particularly interesting. We're going to tackle the claims around former President Obama's birth certificate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you shared this fascinating material with us, this YouTube video promoting a press conference.
Okay.
And this press conference is supposed to finally reveal explosive evidence, but the video, it's pretty charged stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of strong opinions and accusations, right?
Mhm.
So our goal here is to help you understand the claims and the context. We're not going to endorse any particular viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
Just diving into it,
Gotcha. Yeah, it's important to be objective for sure,
Yeah.
especially with something like this. I guess you could say we're diving into a very specific moment in, what's often called birtherism, right?
Okay.
And for context, this refers to the conspiracy theory that alleges that Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States and therefore not eligible to be president.
Gotcha. So that sets the stage, right? Tell me more about the key players in this whole thing. The video mentions Sheriff Joe Arpaio and someone named Mike Zullo.
Yeah, Sheriff Arpaio, you probably know him from his time as Maricopa County Sheriff in Arizona. Pretty controversial tenure, known for his hardline stance on immigration. And he frequently courted controversy with his tactics.
Right.
Zullo was his chief investigator at the time. What's interesting here is that Arpaio, he became a major proponent of the birther conspiracy.
So this YouTube video, it's basically hyping up this press conference, right?
Exactly.
That Arpaio was going to hold.
Yeah.
What was the specific claim about Obama's birth certificate?
Well, the central allegation was that the birth certificate that Obama released publicly wasn't a genuine document, that it was, in fact, a digitally fabricated PDF file with 9 layers of forgery.
9 layers. 9 layers of forgery.
That was the claim, yeah.
Help me understand that. How do you even fake a birth certificate digitally like that?
Okay, so think of a PDF document, like a cake, right, with multiple layers.
Right.
Each layer has different elements, the text, the images, the formatting, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The claim was that someone manipulated these layers, you see, to create a fake document. A tactic meant to make people question the validity of it without necessarily having to present any concrete evidence.
Okay, but this was towards the end of Arpaio's term, right?
Yes.
Didn't these claims about the birth certificate surface earlier?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, back in 2012, Arpaio and Zullo held 2 press conferences, promoting this whole idea that the birth certificate was a forgery. Then fast forward to 2016, right? Arpaio loses his bid for re-election, 6th term ends, and, well, he decides to go out with a bang, He announces this huge final press conference promising to expose the truth about Obama's birth certificate once and for all.
Wow. Dramatic. So you had me listen to this radio interview with Carl Gallups.
Oh, yes.
He seems really invested in all this.
Well, Gallups is a radio host, and he's been very vocal about the birther conspiracy theory. I mean, in this interview, he is absolutely convinced that the birth certificate is, and I quote, a criminally fabricated forgery.
Wow.
Yeah, and he spends a good chunk of the interview basically saying, I told you so, to everyone who believed the conspiracy all along.
So not exactly an unbiased source.
No, not at all. And to ramp up the drama, he even challenges anyone to name a single official who's willing to confirm that Obama was born in the U.S.
Strong words, huh? So a lot of strong opinions, bold claims. But was there any actual evidence presented in the interview? Anything concrete to back up these accusations?
None whatsoever. The entire interview is focused on repeating this forgery claim, emphasizing how it's supposedly this criminal act, and really playing on the emotions of people who already believe this theory.
Interesting you say that about playing on emotions. I noticed he asks a lot of questions, rhetorical questions about why someone would even create a fake birth certificate. It's like he's pushing listeners to reach a certain conclusion.
That's a great observation. And it's a tactic you see often with these conspiracy theories. Gallups he throws out these questions, about potential motives. Maybe Obama doesn't have a real birth certificate. Maybe he's hiding something embarrassing, all without actually, providing any evidence to support these ideas.
Right.
He's letting the audience fill in the blanks with their own suspicions.
So we've got Arpaio and Zullo promising these huge revelations. Gallups fanning the flames on the radio, and it's all building up to this big press conference.
Yeah.
Did they ever present any actual proof of this forgery?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Well, the press conference, it did happen, as promised. But despite all the hype, all the promises of bombshell revelations,
Yeah.
no credible evidence of forgery was ever presented.
So, like, it was all smoke and mirrors. They just made these big claims, and then nothing. That's wild.
It certainly raises questions, and it's important to remember this wasn't the first time that claims about Obama's birth certificate had been, debunked.
Yeah.
This conspiracy theory had been circulating for years, despite being repeatedly fact-checked and disproven.
You're saying, like, this wasn't just a one-time thing. This whole, like, birther idea, it had real staying power, huh? Why do you think that is? What made this particular conspiracy theory, I don't know, take hold the way it did?
That's a great question. I don't think there's a single, easy answer, but I think you have to consider the role of the internet and social media. Information, even if it's false, right?
Right.
It can spread incredibly fast online.
Right. It's like anyone can post anything these days.
Yeah.
And it can be so hard to tell what's true and what's not.
Exactly. And when something, aligns with people's existing beliefs or biases,
Yeah.
it can be extremely difficult to change their minds, even when they're presented with evidence to the contrary.
So you're saying that people tend to, like, gravitate towards information that just confirms what they already think,
Yeah.
even if that information isn't, actually true.
There's definitely a tendency towards that.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to issues that evoke strong emotions. And let's be honest, politics, it's rarely a realm of calm, rational discourse.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we've got the internet, confirmation bias. Did traditional media play a role in this too?
Absolutely. It's complex, but some argue that even the media's, attempts to debunk the birther conspiracy may have inadvertently given it more attention, more oxygen, right? It became part of the national conversation. And in a way, that legitimized it for some people.
Like, even negative attention can still be attention. That makes sense. What about trust? Or the lack thereof, I guess.
Right.
Do you think that played a role in why this theory persisted?
I think that's a key factor. When trust in institutions, like the government, the media is low, people are more susceptible to alternative narratives.
Yeah.
Even those based on shaky evidence or outright falsehoods.
It's like they're looking for an explanation, for someone to blame.
Right. They might feel like those in power aren't telling them the truth, so they turn to these alternative sources of information, even if those sources are unreliable.
Okay, so we've got the internet, confirmation bias, media coverage, distrust in authority. Anything else contribute to this birther idea gaining traction?
I think we also have to acknowledge the racial dynamics that were at play here.
You're talking about the fact that Obama was the first black president.
Exactly. For some, the idea of a black man in the Oval Office was simply, unacceptable. The birther conspiracy theory became a way to delegitimize his presidency, to call into question his very right to be there.
So in a way, it wasn't really about the birth certificate at all, huh? It was about something much bigger, something more insidious.
I think that's a fair assessment. It highlights how these conspiracy theories are often, tapping into deeper societal anxieties, prejudices, divisions.
Right.
They become a vehicle for expressing those underlying sentiments.
Wow. This is giving me a lot to think about. I'm sure our listeners feeling the same way. So where do we go from here? How do we make sense of this? What's the takeaway?
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
It feels like we've uncovered some pretty unsettling stuff here. It makes you wonder if you can really trust anything you see or hear these days,
I understand that feeling. It's important to remember that even when we try to be objective, right?
Yeah.
Our own biases and experiences, they shape how we interpret information. And when you're dealing with something as emotionally charged and politically divisive as the birther conspiracy theory, it's especially challenging.
So what can we do about it? Like, if we can't always trust the information we're getting, how do we protect ourselves from falling prey to misinformation, conspiracy theories?
That's where critical thinking comes in. It's not just about passively absorbing information. It's about actively questioning it, analyzing it, and seeking out different perspectives. You have to be willing to challenge your own assumptions and biases.
I like the being an active participant in the information we consume, not just a passive recipient. So what questions should our listener be asking themselves, as they encounter these sorts of claims? Not just about Obama's birth certificate, but any conspiracy theory they come across.
Well, first, consider the source of the information, right?
Right.
Who's making the claim? What's their background, their track record?
Yeah.
Do they have a known bias or a vested interest in promoting a particular narrative? Like in the case of Carl Gallups, he was already, a firm believer in the birther theory, right?
Yeah.
So his perspective is going to be skewed.
It's like that saying, consider the source. So we look at the source. What next?
Next, look for evidence. What proof is being offered to actually support the claim?
Right.
Is it credible, verifiable, or is it just speculation, conjecture, hearsay? Remember, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
So if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
A lot of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories often rely on sensationalism, this idea that there's some hidden truth being suppressed by, powerful forces.
Right.
It can be very alluring, especially for people who feel disenfranchised or distrustful of authority.
It taps into that desire to feel like you're in the know, like you've got this secret knowledge that most people don't.
Exactly. And finally, consider the implications of believing this theory. What are the potential consequences? Does it lead to harmful actions or beliefs? Does it undermine trust in important institutions? Or sow discord and division? These are all important things to weigh.
That's a lot to keep in mind. It makes you realize just how important critical thinking is.
Yeah.
Especially in this age of information overload. So after taking this deep dive with us today, what's the final thought you want to leave our listener with?
I'd say this. The next time you encounter a claim that seems, outrageous, unbelievable, or just too good to be true, take a moment to pause. Don't just accept it at face value, question it. Consider the source, the evidence, the motivations behind it. Don't let yourself get swept up in a narrative without first examining it critically.
That's great advice. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It's a reminder that we all need to be more discerning about the information we consume and share. Thanks for helping us navigate these murky waters.
It's been my pleasure. Stay curious and keep asking questions.